Hello everybody and welcome back to part 2 of my playthrough of Final Fantasy 2 on the Pixel Remaster collection. And we're going to head off very quickly by heading straight back into the Rebel hideout, following on from our procession of last time where we got Finn's ring, and we're going to go speak to Princess Hilda to show her the ring that we acquired and proceed on with the story and be allowed to join the Rebel cause finally. Because that was what we were waiting for last time, so just walk up and interact with Princess Hilda and go to the key item section, so we'll make use of that. And you'll show her the ring, she'll ask about Scott. Unfortunately, we'll tell her that he did pass away, and that he didn't say anything about her before he died. Although he did, we're just going with the second response he gave us of telling us, of telling her and of not to tell her. So now that we're there, happy for us to join, we have to go and get some Mithril, because that is something that will make more powerful weapons than we've got now. Excuse me. So do make sure that you learn the password Mithril. Make sure it's not something you just skip. So I've messed up here. And I'm going to do a quick reset, but I believe what you can do instead is just unengage speaking to her and then speak to Hilda again. And it will come up with the dialogue about Mithril. But if you're ever worried, just reload the quick save it would have made anytime you walk into a room, because this game's got a lot of auto saves. For better or for worse. You can just speak to her again. We'll have to do the same thing. Key items, show off the ring, proceed through that dialogue. But after that, we can learn the Mithril keyword, and that'll be the second password we need to learn at 15. And I'll just skip through the dialogue, and then I almost did it again. Yeah, there we go. Show the ring to Princess Hilda. Yada yada yada. We get to keep the ring, although I don't think you ever actually use it again. And then Mithril, and then we can learn the Mithril keyword, or the Mithril password. And then ask it back to her, and we'll get some dialogue about what it is we're going to find and where. And the Empire is completely covered with, or their warriors are all covered with using Mithril. We're going to take Minwu along with us. So Minwu is probably the best party member you get, because he comes in leveled as opposed to everybody else that comes in at default. So we will have to level him up to keep in line, but he'll do that automatically. But a lot of the other characters will just come in at level, like level 2 or 3 in their equipment level, and we'll be at like 14, 15 and whatnot. But yes, Minwu joins the party and we get a canoe, so now we can cross soft bodies of water. And unlike Final Fantasy 1, there aren't enemies you can encounter when on the canoe. So if you want to travel from town to town without encounters and you don't want to turn encounters off, the canoe is the next best way to go. So yeah, as you can see, Minwu's stats are a lot higher than us immediately with HP and mana, MP. And then you want to talk to Hilda again, and then we can learn the Dreadnought password, which is the thing we've had mentioned quite a few times of some component that they're building, which in itself is an airship. And then after we go through the dialogue of asking about the Dreadnought, we can learn the airship keyword. Then we can also ask about the airship. But that'll be all the passwords you need to learn in this section, but just make sure you pick up those 3 new passwords. And then once we've done that, we're ready to leave and heading to an area called Paloom, which we haven't been to yet because we need the canoe to get there. Or I believe you need the canoe to get there. I don't think there's an alternative way around. But yes, as we speak to several of the guards in here now, they'll give us different bits of dialogue. Some of them will duplicate. This guy is quite funny. He'll always say that you're a fool, what you're doing isn't that helpful, but eventually as we get further into the game he'll turn around and be like our #1 supporter. But yeah, each character will just give you slightly different bits of information and explanations of the story, so feel free to read them all if you're interested. But no new equipment we should relatively need to pick up yet, so let's just head on our way. So we want to go directly north and then to the east through that big body of water. And there shouldn't be any new enemies that we're going to be looking for, trying to encounter on the way here. But just before we go, I realise there's a couple of things I could do with picking up in regards to spells, because I forgot to actually stock up on fire and thunder tomes for the rest of the party. I only bought the few for Maria last time, so let's give everybody those. I won't use this that much, or a lot of the times that I grind the spells will be off screen. The only times you'll really make use of these is when there's elemental enemies that they're only weak to that. And yeah, here's all of the magic that Minwu starts with. And Keely has a spell that's teleport. That's one that we'll want to get hold of sooner or later, just because it allows us to quickly get out of dungeons if needs be. But yes, head on up, and then we're going to go west across this body of water. So the canoe works the way you just walk into water and then go in any direction you want, and you don't get encounters while you're on the canoe, which is perfect. But as soon as we get off the canoe, we're going to get more encounters. And then we just want to head into Paloom. So similarly to before, there's a bunch of pirates in the town. But these ones are good pirates, and they'll just let us book passage all the way to Poft, which is where we want to go. You saw the ship outside. We're just going to have a quick wander around and speak to a bunch of them. But yeah, unlike with Final Fantasy 1, they're not attacking. They're not attacking the town, so we don't have to fight them all off. Phoenix Down's quite expensive. I could buy one, but chances are I shouldn't have anybody go down. But if you've got a bit of excess cash, you need a bit more grinding than me, it's potentially worth grabbing some. But yeah, there's no major new stock here, but you can always reevaluate the state that your party's in and pick up new weapons and armor as you need, or items. At some point in the game, once we start racking up gil, I'll just get 99 of every item. And I've got the classic problem of I always run left or right as soon as I exit a village. Yeah, I'm just going to do a quick bit of grinding for a little bit more money, and there's an enemy up here we can encounter that's a bit rare. You may not encounter it as early as I do in the game, if I should find one. And here it is, the Sprinter. But if you do, good, we've got it marked off. If you don't, this is definitely something you'll find later, but I'll try and remind before it goes missing, because I believe this is one of the missable enemies you can have. I mean, as you can see as well, I've just been leveling my my spell casting for everybody. I've just got everybody auto-casting fire. Because it will up our MP. And the more MP you've got for gear slots as you go dungeon diving, the better it is. But yep, here you go, the Sprinter there. You can encounter in a lot of different places, but it's going to be a lot of enemies for us to go and get. And we're only 4 in. This is going to take us quite a while. I'm just going to farm up for a little bit more gil and whatnot, as well as leveling up my MP stats. Annoyingly, your MP rate will go up. Quick bit here, I'm just going to turn the gil times on to 4 while I do some off-screen grinding, just as an easier way of racking it up, and saves the amount of time I have to do it for, but feel free to do it how you want. Yeah, what was I saying? It's the spellcasting here, annoyingly, when your MP goes up, it doesn't increase the amount you have. So, for example, we started with 10 MP. Oh, and there's another encounter that I didn't think these spawned around here. I thought they were much further to the north, but the Vampire Thorn is just an upgraded version of the Leg Eater. You'll see a lot of similarly reskinned enemies again as we go through the game. And it will just hit a bit harder, and it's more likely to poison you. I don't know if it has venom that carries over outside of battles. But yeah, I think at that point we're close to having enough gil that I'm after, but I'll do a little bit more grinding and meet you back into town. So here we go, I'm all ready to go, so we're going to go and rest up, as we should do between any re-engagement. Yeah, so what I was trying to say about MP, so we started with 10, you'd get an MP level up while you're fighting, so it would up to 15 I think is the next set, but you won't gain that extra 5 MP as MP ready to use. You'll have to heal up or use ethers or whatnot to restock it. So it'll just upgrade the maximum capacity. It won't upgrade what you currently have. I'm going to continue to do this with most cities we go to. But I think I still want a little bit more gil, so I'm going to continue doing a little bit more grinding. And should I meet any new enemies, I will let you know. Otherwise, we're just going to hide around up here and do some encounters. Sprinter again. Ah, soldiers. So I mentioned I think we could encounter these before. These are the lowest tier form of these type of the human enemies. They've got quite a lot of armor, they're quite tough. They shouldn't be a match for us because I don't think any more than one can spawn at the moment, or potentially without a regular monster enemy, but yeah, it would take a few hits to kill them. So if they catch you and you're low health on the party, they could be a bit of a problem. But there we go, I think I've got enough gil now and I'm at 1500. So ready to pop in and just stock up, because there is some armor and spells I think I'd like to pick up. I believe I can get copper armor in everybody now. And I think we can also finally pick up Protect and Shell, but it's not something I ever really use, but if you want to, feel free. And Minwu comes with them already. Blink is also a useful spell just because it increases the chance of, or decreases the chance of you getting hit, just basically ups your evasion. But yeah, I'll grab Protect, chuck it on Maria, because Maria will be my main spellcaster for this playthrough. And proceed through there. They're all of my characters will end up doing spellcasting, but Maria is always the one that I focus on the most. And then yes, we can get the Copper Cuirass for everybody, because Minwu's the one that's wearing it so far, and it's just a good defense and magic defense increase for everybody, as are the bronze gloves over the leather gloves that we already have. Bronze helm's the same, and then if you still are running shields instead of dual weapons, you might as well upgrade the shield as well. Optimal for each character will almost always double equip them with weapons, which is something that I don't overly like doing early game. So just bear that in mind, but it will equip you with the best weapon, the best armor that you've got, and then anything that's I'm not using, because we're at the early point in the game, I'll just sell. As long as I keep one of each, just because, and it lets us buy another shield. So both Guy and Firian can have shields equipped at the moment, although not too long they will just turn into wielding two weapons. And I think we're all pretty much stocked in here now. I don't think there's many other characters to go and see. We can speak to that pirate and he wants to go on a drink with Maria. The weapons in here you can buy. I don't think are anything that we haven't already seen. So daggers and maces, but I've not got anybody that is overly using those, and I don't believe the mace is an improvement over what Minwu already has, but I also don't go out of my way to over gear temporary characters, at least in the case of Minwu, because he's so over leveled compared to our party as they are at the moment. There's no reason to focus any gear on him. And as I said, if you're playing one of the original versions of this game as opposed to the Pixel Remaster collection, and I don't know which other versions do it, but the temporary parties would steal your equipment when they leave. So it was always best to unequip them before you get to that point, or just never equip them in the first place. But yeah, we're getting on the boat, and it's going to take us to Poft. And there's no issue at all. The pirates are very trustworthy this time. So now we're at Poft, and we're ready to go. Of course, we get an encounter just before we go in. But we want to head on into the city. So this isn't the area we technically need to go to, but this is an area we're going to visit now and a few times in the future. And it just means we can head on in and speak to Sid and get his airship if we want to fly to where we are actually heading to, which is Salamand. And then there's the pirate there that lets us get back on the boat to go back if we want to. I believe you might actually have to get the boat all the way up to Poft, it's just you don't actually have to go into Poft. But there shouldn't be much new equipment or any new equipment between here and Poft, because it's just immediately the next city you can go to. But there's lots of pirates in here. And they're all mentioning Sid, who is the owner of the airship, and Bast, which is where the Empire are building something, which may or may not be the Dreadnought. We'll have to go and find out soon. Yeah, no new spells that we can afford. Weapons-wise, nothing really we can get. They're all mentioning an airship. And then we're good to go. I believe you can head out on the left over there, but I just wanted to go into the pub first and have a quick chat to all these characters. So yeah, as they're mentioning, something's being built in Bafsk. A lot of these characters will have the exact same dialogue, but I believe there's one or two that has slightly different dialogue. It's just working out which one. Or maybe they all do. I'd have to... Yeah, so there's Sid's underling who handles the purchasing of flights. And he'll just say, like, do you want to take a ride on the airship or not? And you can say yes or no. If you say yes, it'll just give you the cost for how much it will be, and then Sid tells you that he's got the airship, and you can ask him about it. You can learn the airship password here as well, but we already did that, obviously, speaking to Hilda. And then, yeah, he just says go and speak to the other guy to pay him. He's not the one that handles all the transactions. But you can ask him about a bunch of the... Or you can ask characters about a bunch of the passwords you've got. Anyone that's in red will tell you a bit of dialogue about them. And then there's nothing, we've got key items to show him. So we're all done in here unless we want to take the flight up. I think in most cases I'd much rather walk. But yeah, if you want to go, just pay to go to Salamander, and it'll be a bit of a shortcut for where we're going next. But I will walk it so we can get some more encounters as well as leveling up weapons and stats on the way. And yeah, weirdly, there's no airship you can see, which a lot of other points in the game you will see that there's an airship there. So there are some new encounters we can get on the way here. I think there's 3 if memory serves, but they're not the most obvious spawns or the most frequent spawns. The Sprinter will be up here as well. And then Salamand is here, this icy town up here. And there's one of the enemies we're looking for, the Sasquatch. The Vampire Thorn is one we would also encounter around here, but that's one we've already found lower down. And then there's an upgraded Goblin that we're going to be looking for as well. And I believe I explained this, but I will re-go over it just in case. When casting a spell, you can press the L2 trigger, or whatever the equivalent trigger is on your controller, or whatever button it says when you're playing on PC, and it will change the target for a spell from single to all. You can do that for both offensive and defensive spells. So just going to be running around out here for a little bit, trying to find the last enemy that we're looking for, because we just need the Goblin Guard now. But yes, we should be at 8 bestiary encounters, assuming you also encounter the Sprinter. If we get the Goblin Guard, which is the last one that I'm looking for. The Sasquatch is probably the toughest enemy you can fight in this area because of the amount of them that can spawn. And there's the Goblin Guard, and we get 4 of them. So those are all the ones with the pink hats. But yes, we're just going to multicast fire, just A, to level it up, and B, because it multi-hits everything. Then we can just physically attack, because why not? I don't need his spell slots leveling up. The Goblin Guard isn't that much upgraded over the Goblin. It can just take like a little bit of an extra damage, and it can fire a bow at us, which can do a lot of damage as opposed to its physical attacks. So that's one to watch out for. But yeah, you can level up a bit here again if you need to, because there's obviously going to be an inn in the town, as there is in every town. But yeah, into Salamander we go. It's a nice snowy town, and we're meant to meet a character called Joseph here. So there's one specific town. There's one specific house that he's going to be in. So in here, in the magic shop here, we can get the Warped Tome and the Teleport Tome. So the Warped Tome is useful because it will take you from the floor you're in a dungeon to the floor above, or basically to the entranceway of how you got to the floor you were just on. And the teleport spell completely takes you out of the dungeon, so you can go from anywhere in the dungeon immediately to the entrance. So if you're ever in danger, you can just teleport your way out, or if you can't be bothered to run all the way back out of the dungeon, there you go, poof, you're back out and away. I don't quite have the money to pick them up yet, but I would definitely get the Teleport Tome, because it's also got uses in combat where you can just teleport the enemy away, and it just counts as you having won. The bronze armor is basically the equivalent of the copper cuirass, with the exception of the magic interference is worse on it, so there's no reason for you to go with the bronze armor over the copper cuirass. Usually the magic interference is plus 20, whereas the copper one is plus 1. So no reason to change. You can grab one if you like. Feel free to just completely skip it. Weapons-wise, I do believe there is some new upgrades we can get. Yes, for everybody. So the longsword is the longsword, the longbow, and the battle axe are all improvements over what we currently have. And Minwu's just got a staff, which is the weaker than the mace. Whether you want to improve Minwu, I will, just for this once. But you don't have to. And yeah, we'll just swap over the equipment on everybody. Longbow and battle axe. Just the accuracy will go down slightly on it all, but the damage will go up, and they're accurate enough, and we're fighting weak enough enemies at the moment that it's not really a problem. Rest up at the end because we did a lot of engagements all the way up to getting here. And then we need to go and take a quick visit to the item shop, and we want to find Joseph. This is just another one of the shrines. Get nice music if you go in, but nothing relevant in there. And this is the place that has Joseph in, so here he is. And yes, we do have business with you. We need to ask him about Mithril. And he's been looking at it for the rebel army, but doesn't currently want to talk to us because we've not been... We're not known to him. He doesn't know about us. And yeah, we can just ask him all of these to give us a bit of information. And yeah, you don't technically have to have met Sid by this point, and they're just referencing that there's a guy that knows all about them, which is Sid. But yes, we've got to go to a very specific dungeon to go and rescue some people for Joseph before he's willing to help us, which is Semet Falls. But before that, there's another encounter I want to get on the overworld, which is between here and Semet Falls. But it's a bit of a rarer one. So Semet Falls... Semet Falls, there's two ways you can go. You can go directly down there, and it's that place we're going to there, or you can go all the way left and around through... all the way around here and through the water using the canoe. So it's a bit of a short trip to get there. Just follow the route I've taken, and you can use the canoe to go through all of this body of water. And here you are. We're at the entrance, but because I'm looking for the last enemy before we go in that should appear in this area called the Queen Bee, I'm not going to go in yet. I want to find that enemy. We'll probably do Semet Falls in the next episode. Yes, there's no encounters you can get while canoeing. You can get encounters when you're on a boat in the overworld, but nothing when you're on the canoe, so it's a good way to shortcut getting back to areas. So yeah, I'm just going to head all the way back to Salamand so that I can try and hunt for this encounter nearby, just in case I need to go back and use the inn. And yeah, just as a quick showing of my new stats and levels, just to have a quick run through of what I'm at. But yeah, I'm pretty much going to be capping at level 3, potentially 4 on my weapons that I'm using, just depending on what I encounter. But yes, I'm probably going to call this episode here, and I'll join you again on the next one, and I hopefully will have encountered that enemy ready to get going from the start of that episode. We can carry up then. But I hope you enjoy, and I'll catch you all again. Bye.